Hello, Glitch Ripper here. I'm here for a very interesting moment here with the Crazy Craft mod pack. The thing is, there's something that's a little paradoxical that you might run into, and that's how to defeat this creature. Well, the thing that it spawns in anyhow. This is called a Cursed Stone. It allows you to summon a boss known as the Cursed Remnant, and it will wreck your armor. But it doesn't actually cause much direct damage. What it does is it kind of jostles you around and you eventually die from fall damage. Although the summoning process with one of these itself will cause a heralding blast like the Wither. It's not necessarily quite as strong, so anything of obsidian level or higher should be able to block it, and that's something I've experimented with it and found was true. Another thing is that you'll note that you can only ever find these things as loot. Like there's no way to craft them. So this is kind of an optional side quest boss fight that you might run into whenever you're doing Arcana RPG. Or for that matter, just running around in this mod pack. Now, the thing is that I found a few ways to take care of it, so I do have some strong melee weapons. And you'd think at first, for something that jostles you around, maybe melee wouldn't work. Well, there are a few ways to do it, and that's why I've got these buildings here. I've kind of designed them out of very blast-resistant materials. They're just an 11 by 11 by 5 hollowed out, so you can basically have just enough room so that you can hop around with to readjust a little bit for your striking. But on the other hand, it's not enough where if theoretically you were pushed through the roof, and then jostled back down, you'd take any fall damage. You can always fall 3 blocks without taking any damage, so that's something to keep in mind. Also confined it so that it can't throw you out. I've done the same over here. Now, this side is made out of blocks from Lycanite's mobs, and like Demonic Brick and the Demonic Crystal. Demonic Crystal works for lighting. Here we have Aerogel from the Ether. Specifically Ether 2, because at 1.7.10 they haven't replaced this stuff yet. They are saying in an upcoming upcoming content build, they will eventually replace Aerogel. But it's basically as blast resistant as Obsidian while being a lot more mineable, so you can move it around. The same's true for this material over here, although obviously if you want to see through it, you go with Aerogel, and if you don't, you go with this. Both look nice. Aerogel kind of looks like a cloud, and interesting is Aerogel is a real-life substance that actually looks less realistic in real life. It's kind of funny, but giving it a nice block form here actually makes it more visible than it really is. It's kind of bizarre. Go ahead, look it up. It's kind of crazy. Now, these chambers I'll be using a little later, but I wanted to test out and fulfill various other ways of fighting it. You can see a crater here. Well, the reason for that is I found out that if you have some TNT right next to it whenever it does its heralding blast, that counts as an explosion that sets off TNT. And believe it or not, a point-blank TNT blast can take it out. So even before it has any chance to get rid of its entity form, it will immediately explode and take it out. Of course, that's the thing about TNT, is this entity has different physics, and that's something to keep in mind. So, if you find one of these cursed stones, one of the things you might want to do is place it on the ground. Well, you click it on the ground. Quickly, well, apparently you can't throw it. And then quickly place a TNT right next to it and back up. Note, this will turn the time to night. Yeah. Yeah, that's another dynamic of the boss. It turns the time to night. So you'll wind up getting a few things from the boss fight, and that'll include some pretty cool stuff. I may want to throw this out temporarily, because I won't be using that. Extra copy. So yeah, things will happen and they'll involve craters, but that's a very easy way to defeat the boss. Now the thing about Arcana RPG bosses is they are all basically set up so that in the case of mob battles or something similar, it is actually considered a dynamic of the mod that they will drop their good stuff regardless. And in this case I got a fairly enchanted amethyst pick. Yeah, this is better overall than the other one. and they'll be classed as rare in the purview of the mod. You'll also get something called a Cursed Wand. The Cursed Wand will fire a homing projectile that's explosive and can also apply magical shock to the enemies in the area, depending on which button you hit. That's one interesting theme about these particular wands is they can actually do that. It depends on which button you hit. So in clearing out some of these enemies, you can just chug away. Oh, it does have a somewhat limited lifespan. Now, magical shock does what the boss does. So if you're not familiar with how it fights, I'm going to right-click right now and kind of show you. Yeah, that's how it fights. It jostles you around and you die from fall damage. So thank you, Skeleton, for demonstrating that very, very well. And where's my companion? Hello. There you are. Good, good, good. I'll probably need that in a little while. They're very useful. Now, you may also get some other gear, and of course you got some magical coins from it. So that's showing you why you want to fight this thing. And a couple interesting explanations for how to take care of it. Like, theoretically, let's go ahead and do that again. Only this time I'm going to do it on the top of something very blast resistant so it doesn't make a crater. But this is one way of doing it. Place, pop, back off, and wait for the fireworks. Oh, did I do that at the wrong timing? I did that at the wrong time. I must have did it a split second before it actually engaged. Okay. But yeah, as you can see, you can very quickly get that. Now, you won't get experience for doing it with environmental damage most of the time. I mean, they do try to count TNT set by you, but in terms of being set by them, that's another issue. In this case, you're using his explosion to set it off, and not yours. Whatever. But yeah. Oh, these two are about equal. Nice. But basically you can use them to set off the TNT and blow them up. So they become their own worst enemy. Now, there are, of course, other ways to do it, but that was showing that you could theoretically make, say, an obsidian plate on the ground and then just blow them up with it. So that's also entirely possible. And the thing about Night in this mod pack is it goes nuts really fast. Let me just try a few things here. Just getting them out of my way, because if I go into survival, to actually show how to do this in survival in ways other than setting up TNT, I'll definitely need the enemies to be gone. So all of you just get out of my way. Thank you. And this is also one of your solutions to this problem. I can demonstrate that pretty easily. Now the thing is that, and I will be doing several of these in survival, but first I need to, oh, you. Thank you for getting out of my way. But yeah, the first one I set up with this was this nice transparent one made of Aerogel. Okay, you just sit back there. And what I did, I kind of set this up where I have a companion from the ether. The thing about companions is you can only really get them as special ether treasure, so this may not be the easiest way to go, but you never know. And you could also receive them in certain other ways, although the ether is very stingy about that. But if you manage to get this one, it's called a death seal. So the name isn't exactly the best way to go since I've renamed them. And the thing about your companion is you put them in the companion slot and they give you special abilities. The death seal gives you something called a neck spirit, and neck spirits can revive you periodically. They basically just save you from death. And the thing is that this explosion is very powerful, and it wrecks armor. So whenever I do this in survival, I will need this guy and something else that's basically an extra life, a death protection poppet from Witchery, just in case it does finish me off. Now, the best thing to do is put them about in the middle of the room and hide in a corner to kind of try to reduce the damage. When you do that, it's good to pop something that gives you some additional health and stuff, just in case. So I have this Battle Burrito from Lycanites. And yeah, it actually says Battle Burrito, and it's very tasty. It gives you strength resistance, absorption, health boost, and heals you automatically. So this is a very good food. It's not exactly quite an enchanted golden apple, but in this situation might actually be a better choice, and that's why I got this. Now, whenever you actually go to make this, yeah, you're going to be collecting meat from creatures from across the world. So there's a reason why this is good food. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do to demonstrate these is I'm going to throw this down in creative so I don't lose it, and then I will switch game modes, and I will counterattack it as fast as I possibly can. Now, a few special notes. Normally, you'd be doing something like using one of the mod's weapons, like an amethyst sword that deals heavy damage, or maybe an elemental sword, or just one of the really good swords. Now, the thing is, it's not entirely necessary, but the way it kind of is. The thing is, if you were fighting it normally, the Cursed Spirit also has really high regeneration. It's actually a direct status effect. It's not a natural regeneration property. It actually starts all the time with very high regeneration, and it lasts for like 16 minutes. You're probably not going to time that out. So, yeah, it's something like at least regeneration 5, maybe 10 or higher. It's ridiculous. I mean, if you look at your damage indicators whenever it's healing from a blow, it just nothing but a stream of green ones. It just like it really heals absurdly fast. It doesn't have much health, which is why that one TNT was enough to blow it away. And there's something very similar in the mod itself that comes in handy I'll be showing off later, and that's this Ionic Wand. But you don't entirely need something like that. In fact, any good sword that's been enchanted right can do the trick. There's a couple of enchantments you might be looking for in Arcana RPG. Now, this one has some general ones, but also has some other ones. Now, Sharpness is, of course, vanilla enchantment, but it also does not contradict with Void Blade or Magic Blade, and they don't contradict with each other either, so you can have all three at full power on a sword. And a Cinderfall sword is normally basically like a diamond sword in power, so it's not really that crazy. But it does have other advantages. Although I found out those other advantages don't really help here. Yeah, I had some interesting results in testing. Now, the thing is that because I have Void Blade, Magic Blade, and Sharpness 5, that's a humongous amount of damage, part of which isn't shown because it isn't automatically showing how much extra magic and void damage it adds due to the enchantments. In a normal weapon from Arcana RPG, it does show the extra bonus magical and void damage. And that's something to kind of keep in mind as I do this. They normally are meant to get past armor in different ways, and Arcana RPG mobs may themselves have armor against them, so it kind of adds an interesting layer of combat dynamic. Now, the Cursed Remnant, it has low health, has high regeneration, but has practically no armor. This is where a high power sword comes in. If you can basically overwhelm its ability to regenerate, then you've basically won. That is a pretty big deal about this. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably duplicate this battle burrito. Huh, only stacks up to 16. Of course, I'm not going to use that many, so I think it'll be fine. Oh, I need to switch over to here to get rid of the extra. There you go. But yeah. But part of this is you will be trying to overwhelm it. And the thing is, by having this chamber, it won't be able to fling you too far away to get out of your melee range. If you do it right about in the middle, then you prevent it from basically walling you. And this is where having the ability to have extra lives, thank you, comes in, as well as trying to defend yourself really well with food. So this will get intense. Now, I'm not necessarily going to use this one immediately, because I think I want to demonstrate just the fact that just a really well-prepared sword can do it, even if it's basically vanilla level strength. Now, this is a little bit different because it itself does kind of also unleash a kind of extra damage, but I have practiced with the sword this way before, and it works. So I'm using an Azure Cinderfall sword from Lycanites, and I'm about to go all in with this boss. So, let's do this thing. Okay, I do it right about middle. Yeah, darn. Aw, he's sad. He had to resurrect me. But it shows that you can do that pretty easily if you do it that way. Because I just took that thing down in seconds. But I did have a lot of boosts on. Now, the thing is, apparently it dealt me so much damage that my next spirit determined I need to be resurrected, and that was regardless of whether or not I actually really needed it. There's like a damage threshold incoming to you that they'll automatically do that with, and they can only do so once in a while. So this sad little guy here is gonna be unable to apply for a while. I also got some amethyst from taking it out myself. Got some magical coins. I got these wands will pile up if you don't, if you're not careful. So you can get raw amethyst from the mod as well, and it's useful in making a lot of armors and stuff. So let me just kind of go over here. You can make blocks, you can make tools, you can make armor, and it does give you additional things like additional resistance. It also adds magic and void armor, as I was saying, so this would be a good way of basically harvesting this stuff. And there's special techniques you can use to increase your ability to do so. But that was just one way that you could theoretically do. You just basically contain it and hit it with the best sword you've got. And I'm about to show other methods of taking this creature down. And this paradox is definitely something you'll want to keep in mind, because remember how I said it jostles you around? Well, that is actually an area effect. It goes through walls. So if I was on top of here and it was inside, I would still be being bounced around like crazy and possibly flung far enough to die from fall damage. So this thing is no joke, and it's definitely weird how it fights. I have had it in a mob battle before, specifically up against the Ebon Kako demon, and this thing also destroys projectiles that are aimed in its vicinity. Like, it just wrecks them. Now, because of the length of time this is for, I'll just go ahead and hack into this again now. Okay, come on. Poof! Yeah, this thing's worth a lot of experience. That's definitely a thing. And note that time I survived, I had my buffs, and this was not used up. That Death Protection Poppet would normally trigger if I had to. So you can certainly tell that their threshold is lower than what you actually need. So that's a little concern, but it does mean that other really powerful blows won't instantly kill you. So I just wrecked it by using this Ionic Wand. Well, you're probably wondering, what did I just do to just boom it? I didn't have any TNT. Well, the Ionic Wand has a... Oh, my list is in the way to show you. But yeah, if you left-click, you fire kind of a magical beam-like thing that does not affect that creature. If you right-click, it says that it creates an explosion under their feet. And this thing uses some magic to be used. And you do have a magic gauge in the mod. Now, they do use both a combination of... did I just get that one? Or I think I did. Yeah, I think that's the new one I just got. But yeah, as I was saying, the thing is that you do use magic and durability on your wands in the mod. And, yeah, see, that's what the other function would have done. But the thing is that this is normally decently high tier, but you can find it as treasure. Like, this is its crafting recipe. In this case, it's not immediately showing that you can get it as loot. I have gotten one before as loot, so I know that happens, so it's not showing it off. And out of my way, creeper. I'm trying to demonstrate here. But yeah, the explosion function is fairly powerful, and it's enough to instantly take out the Cursed Remnant. This guy loves this hole. Explode in it, thank you. Wow, flying experience. That's a little different. Okay. Yeah, I still have the effects, so I'm still going to keep on going. But yeah, I'll throw down another Cursed Remnant, and I will use another weapon. In this case, I'll be using a Tesla or a laser rifle. The Teslas are from Rival Rebels, and the laser rifles are from Tech Guns. both of which do use kind of an ammunition whenever you need them. The thing about it is once you create anything from tech guns, it's already considered fully loaded, but then you'll need some kind of ammunition. In this case, you need energy cells. So if this thing's used up completely, then the next thing you do is reload and use an energy cell. In the case of Rival Rebels, you don't do that exactly. It simply operates, but you still need ammunition. In the case of the Tesla from Rival Rebels, you need batteries. And it will go through them very fast. So that's gonna be a thing. Please, next spirit, please. Yeah, I want you outside this so you don't get poofed. You wouldn't necessarily get completely destroyed in one shot, but I don't want to take any chances. Hey, he's a nice little guy. He needs a nice bit of support there. Anyhow, as I was going to do, I'm going to throw down another cursed stone. And I'm going to game mode myself into survival. Poof! Yeah, I got jostled around there, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Okay. Wow, that was... Whoa. I think... Oh, that's what happened. I'm a little stuck due to lag spike. Okay. Whew. Times hit D. You know, it might be easier if I do it this way. Just shoo. Yeah, but you can see the Tesla. It's more than just 4 attack damage, as it says, and I went through 3 batteries for those few seconds I was firing. So that was quick but intense. On the other hand, I also annihilated my target. To just hold use click and let it just spam its electrical beam and you will be fine. They're also fairly cheap to make in the manner that Rival Rebels has interesting crafting recipes. So yeah, it's cheaper than you might think, even though it uses some non-renewable resources. But you know me and that whole gradual thing, you know. Okay, well anyhow, I'm going to use the laser rifle from Tech Guns next. Now it is a lot more complicated if you wanted one of these. These things are not easy to get. Like this really does scale up to the damage in terms of, in fact, it might be overpriced. So you got one that without knowing the context of the mod you'd think is too cheap, and you got one without knowing the context of the mod you'd think is too expensive. In fact, even with knowing the context of the mod, you'd think this might be too expensive. But the thing about Rival Rebels is it was always meant to be a quick startup game where you go around, you grab things that you need really fast, and you go in a team-based attack run until one side wins. So it's not really meant for being long-term. So therefore, it's the pacing. I think I'll eat myself another battle burrito. Oh wait, I need to actually be in creative so that I don't lose this thing. It's not that I have to worry about losing it because I can get more of them, but at the same time, I just want to make sure I'm not constantly crapping it out of creative. Now, I can also say that rod discs are weird if you try using them. Because of the way they work, they will be way too slow to fight the Cursed Remnant. You can see how much damage my armor is taking already. So this is why you usually do this armorless. It is because the armor actually gets in the way and gets correct. But having something with really high durability, Unbreaking 3, blast protection to try to ward off the initial explosion, and feather falling just in case you go flying anyhow, is a pretty good plan. Now, this is from Rival Rebels armor, so theoretically you might have Omega armor. This is the Intel armor. Intel armor. So it's a bit different, but I wanted to go with it thematically because, well, reasons. But now I'm going to show off using the rod disc and the laser rifle. So yeah, this ought to be fun. Okay, around here-ish. Okay. Okay. But yeah, I'll show how it regenerates way too fast for much else. Yeah, see, Even if it hits it multiple times, it's way, way too slow. Sorry. Yeah, so to just speed click whenever you're using this, and you'll have a much easier time. Okay, go away, hostile mobs. I need to make sure that you're no longer there. There were some other things I was going to test, and I might still do that, because I'm just wondering, could I theoretically use certain things from the ether? Like, I'm wondering, could I literally hammer of notch this enemy? Or is that not going to happen? Oh, wow, I've used a good amount of energy over time with this, so yeah. But I could certainly say the easiest thing to... And then another event that happens to turn the time to night just happens to appear. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go on a shooting spree. And the best way they say how this works out for either this or the other gun, because they're not really projectile, they're beams. So, yeah, beam strikes definitely work against the Cursed Remnant. Projectiles do not. And that's why I was wondering about the ether, is it has something that's a very famous projectile, and I'm very curious if I can go for it. Miscellaneous. No, I need... here we go. The Notch Hammer. I'm going to bring on the Notch Hammer. Now, Valkyrie Lance, I don't think would be as good of an idea as you might think. You'd have to power it up, for one thing. But the fact is that it only extends your melee range. So you'd pretty much be doing the same strategy as you would here. And if you actually fight the Cursed Remnant, it has that field from a very far distance, so it wouldn't actually be able to reach it from outside the field. You may have seen some of the things get jostled by it before. In fact, I'm going to let this poor guy here, this werewolf, help me do this experiment. Though it might get wiped out from the initial damage. Well, that slime should inadvertently help. See how everything just jostles and flies around? This is what the Cursed Remnant does. It just flings things. Now, I'm in creative, so it's not directly damaging me right now, but... Wow. I cannot overwhelm this thing's regeneration with the Notch Hammer. It kind of tries, but it can't even do it. Just watch those numbers fly. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So yeah. I miss. It's working before. Oh, I think he ghosted. It might be having a slight lag issue. Because he's probably already dead, it's just not letting him register right now. Or I can zero in and just... Because that stuff was working fine before, so you know it worked. In fact, I demonstrated, so therefore you know it definitely worked. So yeah, there's that. Wait. How was that on peaceful? Is that why it wasn't hitting him? Huh. Did I forget to change it? Well, if that was true, then why was there anything else around here? Oh yeah, I just cleared it, so therefore they're... Okay, never mind. I just cleared it. I just cleared it afterwards, so I'm good. But yeah, why wasn't he taking hits? I think he was ghosting. It's really weird. Sometimes you can melee something like that, but I know these ranged weapons worked fine before. It just wasn't doing it then. So that's kind of strange. So you feeling fine there? Let me... Bearing seal 75. Okay. But yeah, I can certainly say between them, you might want to be careful when using the Tesla because it can break certain types of blocks. And that was a hard block, so that kind of says something. So yeah, if you want to make sure to maintain this thing, you may want to be careful about your builds. Because that might happen. I actually blasted right through this thing the first time I was experimenting with the Tesla. It just ripped it apart. So yeah, choice of weapons could be very interesting. I could also maybe test a few others, but I can certainly say that's probably enough to get you going up against the Cursed Remnant. It has options for being taken down, although normally speaking it would be very, very difficult. But I found some of the most expedient ways to take down the Cursed Remnant from Arcana RPG. In the future, I may also have some other mob battles involving it, and just seeing if anything else can get around that field of absolute annoyance. The thing is that you've also definitely seen something that has a similar ability. The Void Lord also did that. Although he wasn't doing it constantly. He just did it kind of randomly whenever. But you could see the results as it literally chucked a hammerhead from Orspawn practically around the world and obliterated it in midair. Uh, just wow. Well, okay, so I tested that one on my own, and that wasn't exactly there. But you definitely saw things flying like jumpy bugs, emperor scorpions, and other things that just got wrecked that are normally insanely powerful. And the Void Lord just took them down effortlessly, just really effortlessly. It was ridiculous. Oh well, that's enough for now, and you can certainly see that tactic is going to be some interesting things to figure out with Arcana RPG, and figuring out whether or not there'll be some mob battles involved as well in the future involving it. I do believe so. So yeah, I'll definitely, wow, that lasts a long time. I'll definitely be coming back to that concept eventually, but for now, I'll be logging off. So, this has been Glitch Reaper. I'll be signing off for now. Hope to hear from you all later, and bye for now, everybody.